and welcome to Love Thy Lawyer, where we talk to real lawyers about their lives in and out of the practice of law, how they got to be lawyers, and what their experience has been. I'm Louis Goodman, the host of the show, and yes, I'm a lawyer. Nobody's perfect. This is a bonus episode, and there's three topics that I want to cover. One is some things on the election. The second is what is available now for podcasting and some of the things that we're taking advantage of. And the third is what we as a podcast are doing coming up with the Alameda County Bar Association. So we have the most important election in United States history coming up. That's what the president says, and who am I to disagree with him? So I think it's very important for all of us to vote, and for those of us who can, to contribute, because every campaign costs a lot of money, and most campaigns spend about $50 per vote for getting their votes out. So it's important to not only vote, but to contribute, especially if you live in a deep red or a deep blue state like we do here in California on the presidential level, because if you care about the presidential election, your vote is really, it's important, but it's not really that critical for the presidential election, although there are certainly some important down-ballot issues, and we're going to get to that in a minute. But it's really important to send some money to campaigns that you care about so that you're essentially getting your vote made in a swing state. One of those down-ballot issues that's really important, and certainly to those of us who are attorneys, is the judicial race that we have right here in Alameda County. And there are two candidates, Elena Condes and Mark Fickus, who are running. And one of them is going to be the next judge of the Superior Court in Alameda County. The next two episodes of the Love Thy Lawyer podcast are going to feature those two individuals. I've interviewed both of them, and the interviews are up and available, or they will be available, one on Wednesday, the 30th of September, this Wednesday, and the next one is going to be on October 7th. And Elena Condes will be first, Mark Fickus will be second. I did both of the interviews and determined who would be first and who would be second by the flip of the coin. And then on Wednesday, October 14th, David Lim, who was on the podcast a few weeks ago, and I are going to be discussing what it was like to run for judge. Because obviously who is a judge on our bench is important to those of us who are attorneys. I'd also like to say what I've said to so many people who have run for judge or asked for my support in getting their appointment. I say, well, look, here's what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to send you some money. I'm willing to write a letter. I'm willing to give you my support. I mean, assuming that I feel that it's an appropriate candidate. And here's what I expect. I don't care what you do about sentencing. I don't care what you do about bail. I don't care what you do about evidentiary rulings. Those are things that I think are within the purview and the discretion of the court. But here's what I expect, and here's what I want from you as a judge. I want you to take the bench on time. I want you to call my case, and I want you to give me the date that I want, as long as what I'm asking for is within reason. And they all laugh. They, oh, ha, 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 Louis, that's very funny. Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, then they take the bench. Well, seriously, as far as I'm concerned, if you can take the bench on time, call my case, and give me the date that I want, you are just a couple of millimeters shy of being Louis Brandeis in my book. So if you're running for judge and you're listening to this, that's what I would like. Okay, Also, now, Love Thy Lawyer is now available on YouTube. Now, that's an interesting process, and since this is kind of a state of the pod, behind the scenes, what's going on podcast, I'm just going to give you a little bit of tech geek stuff here, which is the podcast obviously is an audio file, and YouTube takes video files. So you have to make your audio file into a video file. And there are a couple of companies that do this, a couple of websites that do it. The one I'm using is called Wave, Wavve. It's easy to use. What you do is you upload your audio file into their program, and it somehow through magic makes it into a video file that YouTube can read. You can put some pictures and some other little things on it that make it appropriate. And I couldn't really figure out why anybody would want to go to YouTube to listen to podcasts, but a number of people spoke to me about it and said, hey, how come I can't find you on YouTube? So I thought, all right, we'll go on YouTube. So we are available on YouTube. The other place that we're newly available is on Amazon and Pandora. Amazon has just started getting into the podcast world. They've never before hosted podcasts, but now you can find our podcast and probably pretty much any other podcast you listen to on Amazon Music. And the third place that's new to us is Pandora. Pandora's been in the podcasting world for a while. They're for some reason they're hard to get onto, and our application to be there has been there for months. And Pandora finally said, "Yeah, okay, you're on." So you can find Love Thy Lawyer in the Pandora podcast feed. The third subject that I wanted to discuss this morning is our collaboration with the Alameda County Bar Association. And we are going to be doing a co-production of a program that's sponsored by the Barristers Club of the Alameda County Bar Association. Essentially, it's going to be an interview that I'll do on a Zoom call with an experienced attorney, and I'm not sure who that is yet, and it'll be hosted by the Barristers Club of the Bar Association. And then we're going to take that Zoom call, and we'll take the audio and use it to develop a podcast. So look for that. Let me just say that I really appreciate everybody listening. If you've looked at Facebook, you know that we've hit well over 2,500 downloads of the podcast. And as I said there, I'm just really humbled and honored that so many people have listened to the podcast. Many of you have called me or sent me an email and told me something about the podcast, given me some feedback. In general, it's all been really positive. And so I just want to say thank you, and I appreciate your listening, and I appreciate your getting back to me on it. And I'm having fun doing it. I'm sure you can tell that. And so the state of the pod is strong. See you on Wednesdays. That's it for today's episode of Love Thy Lawyer. Many thanks to my guests who have contributed their time and wisdom and make this show possible. Thanks as always to Joel Katz for music, Brian Matheson for technical support, and Tracy Harvey. I'm Louis Goodman. As long as I continue having fun doing it, I'm going to keep doing it.